At Yeatman's Cove Park in downtown Cincinnati, you will see a statue of this man, Lucius Quintius Cincinnatus. At Vine Street and Central Parkway, there is this mural of him as well. So, with his own grand mural and statue, one might likely conclude that this man surely had something to do with Cincinnati's founding. After all, it seems like the city is named after him. Was Cincinnati solely responsible for Cincinnati's founding? Who else was responsible? If we were to have a Mount Rushmore on the side of Mount Adams, whose faces would be on it? Before we discuss who Cincinnati was, let's discuss Cincinnati's founding. This area, which would become known as the Northwest Territory, was acquired in 1783. In 1786, a Revolutionary War vet named Benjamin Stites from southwest Pennsylvania arrived in present-day Maysville, Kentucky to trade with locals in the area. When he arrived, the locals had recently been robbed by a native tribe. Stites crossed the Ohio River into southwest Ohio and chased the thieves. During the chase through southwest Ohio, Stites was impressed by all the rich, fertile land he saw, and he had a vision for the future of what this area could become. Stites convinced this guy, John Cleves Sims, to purchase 2 million acres of land in this area, which would become known as the Miami Purchase. Ben Stites bought 20,000 acres of land and he settled an area about 1 mile west of the Little Miami River. Stites, along with a group of settlers, created a village in present-day Columbia. The villagers eventually abandoned the settlement after realizing it frequently flooded. The settlement had been abandoned by 1815, and none of the original buildings are still there. But the Columbia neighborhood still exists, just further away from the river from where it was originally settled. This was the first establishment in the present-day Cincinnati area. So for all that, Ben Stites definitely gets a face on our Mount Adams monument. Another name I just mentioned, John Cleves Sims. Sims bought 2 million acres of land in the Miami Purchase, which was then reduced to 1 million acres and then 300,000. Sims bought the land for 67 cents per acre, and in the late 1780s he began selling off chunks of the land. Considering he was the man who purchased this land and then sold it to others to development, we'll give him a face on our Mount Adams monument. Next, I'm going to lump 3 men together, Matthias Denman, Robert Patson, and John Filson. These 3 men purchased 800 acres of land from Sims across from the mouth of the Licking River. On December 28, 1788, they stepped onto their new settlement, which they would eventually call Lesantyville, which would eventually be changed to Cincinnati. They helped recruit settlers to Lesantyville through word of mouth as well as newspaper advertisements. Denman left Cincinnati in 1804 and became a rural farmer in Ohio before he returned to his home in New Jersey. He would return to Cincinnati off and on several times throughout his life, but he didn't spend much of his life in Cincinnati. Patterson was a part of the Lesantyville Purchase as well, in large part credited with being the one who chose this specific area of land to purchase from Sims. Patterson spent much time traveling up and down the Ohio River with supplies scouting the best spot to settle. Filson is credited with creating the name of the first settlement, Lesantyville. Lesantyville was a combination of etymology that was intended to translate to town across from the mouth of the Licking River. While Filson was involved in the naming and purchasing of the land, Filson never saw the vision come to fruition. In October of 1788, a couple months before Lesantyville would be officially established, Filson was surveying the land and he wandered into the woods and disappeared, and his body was never recovered. A man named Israel Ludlow replaced Filson. Ludlow platted this land on a north-south grid style similar to cities such as Philadelphia. He is also credited with drawing a border separating the land from the native territory. He also ventured outside of the settlement and built a house on 125 acres of land near present-day Northside. So, there you go. These are the men that I would consider the founders of Cincinnati, and here's again a little recap of each one of them specifically did. But wait, isn't there someone I'm forgetting? Oh yeah, Cincinnatus, the man the city is named after. Why was the settlement changed from Lesantyville to Cincinnati? The Lesantyville settlement was originally established in December of 1788. In January of 1790, this guy, General Arthur St. Clair, the governor of the Northwest Territory at the time, arrived in Lesantyville to inspect the new settlement. Upon his arrival, he changed the name of Lesantyville to Cincinnati in honor of Cincinnatus. So what did Cincinnatus have to do with the founding of Cincinnati? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Cincinnatus died approximately 2,200 years before Cincinnati was even a city. If you are really curious, here is a brief summary of who Cincinnatus was. St. Clair was a part of an organization that was named after Cincinnatus. That's literally all there is to it. St. Clair shows up to Lesantiville, says, "I don't like this name," changes the name of the organization, and then leaves. So Cincinnatus gets his own statue and mural, and these guys get nothing? No faces in the side of Mount Adams? No murals? No nothing? So while all these men were involved in Cincinnati's founding, many of them do not get the recognition that Cincinnatus does. Some of them have some neighborhoods, subdivisions, streets, bars named after them, but I guess not everyone is fortunate enough to have an entire town around Cincinnati named after them.